It is Monday as we record after Penn State's biggest and first official visit weekend of the June cycle for the class of 2027, and here we have not exactly their first commit, but their first commit on offense or defense coming out of this past weekend. Ryan Snyder with me, of course, to discuss who that is. Ryan, I know it's a big weekend and Penn State fans are excited, so let's dive right into it. Who did Penn State get today in this class?
Yeah, safety Caleb Cooper. We have him at 6 foot 205. I believe we measured in just a tiny bit below that. We'll say closer to 5'11 and a half. I think he was closer to 210 this past weekend. Out of Charlotte, North Carolina, Providence Day High School is where he's played the last 2 years. So kind of getting a little background, and I'll be honest, I'm still learning a lot about Caleb myself, right? This has been such a quick moving process, but he spent his freshman year in Nashville and then moved to Charlotte 2 years ago. His father, Scott Cooper, is now the director of coaching development and culture with Dave Canales and the Carolina Panthers. So that's what brought him to Charlotte. Spent the past 2 years there at Providence Day. And, after his sophomore season, Deon Broomfield, who, of course, was still at Iowa State at the time, extended an offer. And he rolled up, I think, over 20 offers total. I know his last season here as a junior, pretty good stats, 97 tackles, right? 5 tackles for loss, 6 pass deflections, and 1 interception. Always love seeing safeties that have 97 tackles, right? That's an impressive number there for that position.
We'll get to that for sure.
Visited Florida, Kentucky, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Va Tech through the spring. And as so many 2027 prospects have learned over the last couple of months, schools fill up quickly in the spring and things switch around a lot, right? And I think that had a big impact on Caleb eventually getting to Penn State. He had official visits still lined up for Wisconsin and Va Tech. This was supposed to happen here in the coming weeks, but Broomfield got in touch with him about 2 to 3 weeks ago and basically laid it out that, hey, look, we're in it with a couple guys. We have Jonathan Gillette obviously committed, but we have a lot of interest. We need to get you on campus if you have interest back. And here we are, 24 hours after that visit has concluded, a little over that. But I think it's first off, just getting to talk to Caleb, awesome kid. Maybe the most well-spoken, clear-cut, just awesome kid. I can't stress that enough. That was my first interview with him just actually on Monday, and wow, I was so impressed with just kind of how he's been raised, right, and the things that are important to him. That story's up now on BWI, so go check it out. T. Frank, what is it? Half off for the summer?
Yes,
sale?
sir.
Hey, look at me!
You nailed it.
Look at me! But just really, really enjoy getting to know him. I have a lot to dig still myself on just him as a player still, and looking forward to getting to talk to his coach here soon. But I know he some pretty good athletic numbers out there. I don't know exactly how legit they all are. Like, I don't believe they're Under Armour, for example, right? But certainly a 4.5
third party verified, right?
Yeah, I feel confident 4.5 is a good time for him, and
yes,
has over a 10-foot broad jump. Whether I'm not exactly sure how, but anyway, guys going over 10 foot, that's what you want to see, from an explosion perspective. But I think this is certainly a good get off the field. I love talking to Caleb Cooper. I can't stress that enough. And you've been digging into the film more than me, right? I've been trying to figure out some other stuff, but it looks to be a decent get here for the Lions.
Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit to talk about this stuff because a lot of the things you're talking about in terms of football IQ, an NFL family, smart, well-spoken, these things do show up on film for football players when you can see some of the aspects of their personality kind of shine through. Like, if you're a high school player and you have an advanced football understanding and you can see that on film, that tells me that you take the game seriously, you have good coaching, and you have the a capacity to learn, and you're not just out there being one of the best athletes. And the film definitely shows some of that. We're going to get to that in just 1 second. So 2 things here first. The first is, as Ryan mentioned, you can subscribe for half off right now at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com. It's the ultimate fan bundle because you get us, you get our national recruiting and On3 all at the same time, Rivals On3, and a full year of access to The Athletic for our summertime recruiting sale. It's half off right now. And of course, if you're celebrating this, like the video. I'm going to put this back up here, Ryan, for people who are already, like, just as a quick thing, they're subscribing to the channel, they're hitting all the buttons, I just asked them to. For Caleb Cooper, he is a 3-star and a guy who, kind of for the podcast audience, 86 overall, kind of a middle-of-the-road 3-star from a recruiting perspective. Do you feel that this is, I just want to get your opinion, I'll give mine once we get to the film, like an underrated prospect, a guy because he moved and changed schools, there is maybe more here? Or do you think this is just like your recruiting story kind of told me that might be a possibility?
Sure. I mean, I think 5'11 and a half, 210 is a part of it too, right? I think coaches like to see a little bit more length sometimes from some guys, but
Yeah.
Truthfully, like I said, I have so much to learn on him. I feel confident in answering that question for so many other guys, but I mean, we are 10-20% in on what I hope to really learn about Caleb Cooper in his path here. But I mean, certainly when you look at some of the offers he had, that he earned those offers for a reason, right? And it's not, just because his dad has connections with the NFL. I mean, he's certainly a good player. You don't rack up those kind of stats and move the way he moves without it. But like I said, I have so much more to learn still. You're the film analyst. You're the film analyzer, not me.
Well, let's get to that then. First, though, we do need to hear from today's sponsor, AJ Freedom Financial. Penn State fans know that confidence comes with having the right game plan. And when retirement is getting closer, many people have the same questions. Will my money last? Am I prepared for market volatility? Do I have a real plan for retirement and income taxes? At AJ Freedom Financial, we help pre-retirees and retirees build personalized retirement plans designed around their goals, timelines, and comfort with risk. From retirement incomes and tax-aware planning to legacy and investment strategies, we focus on helping clients move forward with greater clarity and confidence. If you'd like a second opinion on your current financial plan, or want to build a retirement strategy you can feel better about, we invite you to schedule a no-obligation meeting in Plymouth Meeting or one of our locations near you. Visit AJ Freedom Financial at www.ajffi.com or call 866-383-6899 today. That's AJ Freedom Financial at ajffi.com. AJ Freedom Financial, helping Nittany Lions fans plan for what's next.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Gradient Securities, LLC. Arden Hills, Minnesota, 866-991-1539. Member FINRA, SIPC. Gradient Securities, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor, offers investment advisory services under the DBA of Gradient Wealth Management. Gradient Securities, LLC, and its advisors do not render tax, legal, or accounting services. Insurance products and services offered through AJ Freedom Financial. AJ Freedom Financial and Freedom Financial Insurance, LLC are not affiliated with Gradient Securities, LLC.
Some of my favorite film I've watched so far this year, like if you could take one slice, one characteristic of a player in Penn State's class and say this is the best example of that, in contention is Caleb Cooper's run defense. This is better than his hit stick ability. This is some stuff that's going to translate to the next level in a big way. So let's take a look at this particular play and why this is so awesome. So this is a pin and pull, right? So you're going to have your guard pulling out here, and there's a tight end here, right? And then you got 3 receivers to this side. So you got 2 receivers here and another tight end, who I think is the other puller. So you're going to have a massive convoy coming this way into the boundary where they're trying to capture the edge of the defense. And you see, let's back this up for a second. You've got Cooper lined up, head up on the tight end. So he is out-leveraged. At minimum, he has average leverage here. A lot of times you'll see safeties even line up a little bit outside so that you have the contain on the side of the defense. That is his job in this play. Nobody can get outside of him. The problem is the nobody trying to get outside of him is a massive offensive lineman. So you see him take on this block like a linebacker, push the running back inside. Okay, so that's now over. He has sealed the edge against a 280-pound, a big college-sized offensive lineman here, and he won the interaction, and now he's pushed the ball back inside. So he didn't make the play here, but he made that play. And here we have, which is amazing, an even better example of it. I think this was 2 plays later in the game, where not only does he set the edge of the defense, he makes the tackle. Look at this. He tabletops the lineman, which is hilarious to see, okay, he has now set the edge of the defense, right? So this has to go inside. It has to fit into this gap here, which has the opportunity to. This guy is a little bit late filling. He's not square in the hole. This has the opportunity to get upfield if that happens, and look at that. The defense rallies because he gave them time to get there, and then he gets in on the tackle. This is so good. This is so good. I really like his run defense. And then you can see him Like, again, we're going to talk about it as a box linebacker, a box safety, excuse me. And you can see, like, that could be a derogatory comment, but he's explosive. He's fast sideline to sideline. He's got great athleticism, like on this play. Okay, so he actually lost leverage. One of the few times he actually loses a block. So the tight end gets outside of him. He's on the inside of the guy's hat, and he has to get back outside because now you got a corner with that offensive lineman we saw earlier. He has got to win. He's got to recover on this play. Not only does he recover, he makes the tackle. So that's the recovery speed that we see, the explosiveness, and then the downhill ability to get through the trash to get to the football. He plays like a linebacker. I don't have another compliment or thing to say, just showing you a bunch of different examples. Here he actually breaks some rules because, again, we have another counter, and we would want him to kind of fit up here and make sure you string this along the sideline. He goes back door on this tight end, I think it is. And not only does he go back door, he gets through the block and then explodes upfield to get a massive tackle for loss. These things are awesome. And then this particular play, he's very literally playing the B gap on this play. So the tight end comes on, this looks like a trap block. So he's coming down here to block this guy. The tackle is coming out this way to block the end. So you have this opportunity for this running back to run straight downhill into a safety. Like, that's what this school wants. That's what the opponent wants on this particular blocking scheme. And he just fires downhill into the B gap. I love that. That is such good instinct. That is run defense at its best. And the fearlessness, the ability to get into the gap and deliver at full acceleration to hit. The sacrifice of the body, he is going to be a special run defender. So there's a lot to get here with Caleb Cooper, and I want to try and condense a lot of this stuff. We'll have more at bluewhiteillustrated.com. I just want to show you a couple of the highlights where I think coverage is definitely an area where he needs to get better. Some of the areas I think he needs to get better, as you can see, his back pedal here doesn't look super confident in man coverage. It's one of the few opportunities we get to see him in man coverage, and I think if he had better highlights of that, you wouldn't see this on his highlight tape. This, to me, is not a good coverage play. This is a drop by the wide receiver. So he gets open. The receiver kind of drifts and allows Cooper to get back into the play. But you can see the ball hits his hands before Cooper gets there, and then he stops the rebound. But if the receiver runs a good route here and if the receiver catches the football, this is 3rd and short, 4th and short, whatever the down. I can't totally see what that is. It's 3rd or 4th and short, and he gave up a play in coverage in that situation. We'll get to his transitions on the next play, which are an area, again, I think he needs to improve. So context in the situation, again, this is a major cover 3 defense. That's 99% of what they play. And I think they play a pretty basic cover 3 defense. So what you're going to have is the number one wide receiver is going to come and run a stick route here. And he's going to turn to the outside. Then you're going to have this receiver, I think he runs a vertical up here to take the corner. And that's going to isolate, even though this is a zone coverage, it's going to isolate Cooper on the number one wide receiver. So they're picking on him in this particular coverage. In this zone, what you have is in cover 3, you have 4 players for this underneath coverage, right? But what the offense has done is stacked a lot of guys this way. This is a motion. So they're trying to condense everyone this way with the run and then attack out to the field. This is Greg Olson's team in the championship game, by the way. So they're doing some smart stuff. They're attacking not just the player, but the coverage shell itself. He knows that, and you can see how he transitions with this receiver. So the instincts and the physical talent to do that are there, but what he's lacking are these transitions. Watch from that step right there. He plants his foot into the back, his outside heel on the line here. And what you want is you want him to just drive as hard as he can forward, but his momentum and just kind of some clunkiness. You can see his feet. He takes 2 or 3 extra steps. Those 2 or 3 extra steps, and then he resets with less power because now his he doesn't have all that backward momentum to drive off that back heel. His weight is really kind of right here, and there's all this distance. The ball is already out of the quarterback's hands, and he's not going to make it there for the catch. So those are some things he needs to get better. Then you're going to see just some general over aggressiveness in zone coverage. This is his guy in a play action flip over the top of the first level of the defense. I love his run stuffing ability. I love his aggression, but you can use aggression against you, and this is a situation where you see that. So just some coverage plays where I think when we do see him in primary coverage, it's an area where he has to improve. This is why I thought initially, is he a fit for Penn State? Because the athleticism to play as an all-around safety is there. But is the instinct? We'll have to see how that develops at Penn State to know, like, is he going to be a box-only player? Because I think he compares really well to Marcus Neal. But even in this situation, I think that can be a weakness if you don't feel like you can play a guy in coverage in a number of different ways. You're not going to have him be a number one coverage player against receivers, but he's got to be able to cover tight ends, got to do select man coverage, and be strong in zone. And I think there's some question as to where the upward ceiling of those instincts are, but he's athletic enough to do it, so we'll have to see what happens. So there you go. There is Caleb Cooper. Ryan had to bounce, but that's kind of what I wanted to show you in terms of when I mentioned you can see the football IQ, you can see the training, you can see all those things in the run defense. And in this particular situation, there's more, by the way, at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com. I went on for like 15 minutes, and we usually try to keep these videos a little bit shorter, so I have a longer extended cut of his film room over at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com. But I wanted you to see some of that stuff and see the good and then the questions that there are with Caleb Cooper. Of course, there's a film room up over there right now, so you can go and subscribe to BlueWhiteIllustrated.com like Ryan said. If you enjoyed this video and you appreciate getting the context, like the video, make sure you subscribe here to the YouTube channel. We'll be back because Penn State is not done getting recruits. There's more things out there. There's more for us to learn and to know about what they are able to do during this June recruitment surge. I'm Thomas Frank Carr for Ryan Snyder. We will be back with more here on the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel.